Hi everyone, this is Niki Rowland, and today I'm making a layout for Bramble Fox. I'm using the goodies in the January Fox box, and I'm particularly using the New Year one, so you'll all be very pleased to know that I have moved on from Christmas layouts, although I'm not committing to that. I might come back for some more. But I am making a New Year layout, and I am still using up my December hip kit. So I've got some things from there. I particularly wanted to use it because it has lots of New Year ephemera, so like 2020, it says things like Happy New Year, has like champagne glasses, so I wanted to use that for my New Year's photo that I took. So I'm just using this really lovely sheet of cardstock. It's a Heidi Swap cardstock. There's two bits there actually, paper. One is that grey print with the circles all over it. I've just fussy cut around some of the circles to give myself like a shaped background. That's not something I do very often. I normally do paper tearing quite often, but actually to have a shaped background or like a bracket style background I don't normally do. So this looked quite good. I was quite happy with how it cut out. So literally just trimmed around some of the circles, just had this nice kind of scalloped look. I didn't like the middle because there's quite a big gap between the circles, so they didn't overlap perfectly. So I'm going to put my photo there, so that solves that problem completely. And the bottom piece of cardstock that I'm using is also by Heidi Swap, and it is a beautiful embossed cardstock. So it's white and it has lovely words all over it. So it's just very subtle, but it does have a pattern on it. It's a very subtle embossed word. So things like living my best life, enjoy the now, one of a kind, smile, it's beautiful. All those kind of words are all over that background. So that was a nice thing to use. So I'm just, I've got some other photos there that I was considering using on this layout. I also considered using both of the 2020 New Year perspectives from the January Fox box, but in the end I decided I'm going to stick with one photo and one perspective, so the New Year with the 2020 in the middle. So because it's going on quite a fairly light background, I was happy with the white perspective on the grey background because you can see it. I don't really like the white on the white, but I wanted a bit of definition behind the 2020, so I've just mounted that on a piece of pink pattern paper. And now the 2020 really shows up, and it has created like a bit of a feature for it. So I really like how that looks. And I've just been through all the ephemera I've got, and I've pulled out all the New Year's things. So we are at home or in our holiday house because we were away, and I've pulled out some houses because that worked well with where we were, because we had been out for dinner, but we have a 18-month-old, he's still 17 months, going out late partying on New Year's Eve isn't really an option for us. So we went out for dinner early, and then we're home by 7 and baby was going to bed, and then we stayed up late playing Uno. So what a rocking New Year's Eve we had, but we all together, we had some friends around, we had lots of fun, and then we went to bed. So all good. Okay, so I'm just kind of going through working out where my layout is all going to sit. I really like the pink frame that was in the one of the frame. There was a whole set of frames in this kit, so I pulled out one of those, and then there was some journaling cards as well that I wanted to use, and one had 2 squares on it, and I've just cut that so they're 2 separate squares instead of a long journaling card with squares on, and I've used that as the paper layer underneath my photo, you can see there, and there's a tag under my photo as well, so I'm just going to distress the edges of all of those. And also mount my photo on another journaling card. So I had several 3x4 journaling cards left over from this kit. So I always think they're great for mounting photos on. So I've just done that. I had to trim it slightly and distress the edges. With the tag, I'm just going to tie some twine around it. It's actually silver thread. So I'm just looping that through the hole several times and securing on the back with tape. Sorry, it's gone off camera. So yeah, I'm just I just literally loop it through. I don't tie it or anything. I just then put a bit of tape on the back so that I have several loops coming out of the tag itself. In the end, you hardly see any of the tags, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like, to be honest. So getting my tag sorted, mounting my photo. I'm just making sure that my New Year is stuck nicely to that piece of pink cardstock, so that I can then add it to my layout later once it's a bit dry. And just distress the edges of that frame, including the inside. Now I'm not using the frame as a frame, I'm using it as a layer. So I kind of wanted us to look like we were in an Instagram photo or Polaroid, something like that, but my photo didn't really look right inside the frame because it's the wrong size. It doesn't fit. So that didn't look that great. So I'm just going to have it kind of sitting on top of the frame with the frame in the background as a layer. So it's still just kind of getting all of those bits stuck down. I've just realized that my background, the scalloped background, isn't stuck at all. So I think I stuck the top edge, but then the bottom edge isn't stuck at all. So literally had to go around and add a few foam pads. And I didn't want to move my whole layout, so I just stuck a few under where I could, tucked them under. So now I'm ready to get my photo stuck in place, and the frame and the little card that goes underneath. And then that gives me a really good base for my layout there. I'm really happy with how that's looking. And now once those bits are stuck in place, I can start sticking all of the other pieces of ephemera too. So just getting the houses stuck down. I've put tape at the bottom, and then I'm raising the tops on foam pads so they have some dimension. I like the bottoms of my ephemera to stay flat because I tend to layer lots and lots and lots. So layering foam pad, if something's raised on foam pads, and then I want to add another layer, then I might have two different levels, if that makes sense. So I tend to stick the bottoms flat and the tops raised, so things still have dimension, but the bottom edges are flat so that I can add more. Those little glasses there that say 2020, they're really cute. I really wanted to get those in, but I felt the need to cover the holes of the glasses with just white cardstock, so they weren't like frames effectively, they were solid, so that way I could layer them on the corner of my photo without seeing the corner of my photo through the glasses. So that's why I did that. I felt that my layout needed some more perspectives, so obviously I've got the title, the New Year 2020, but I wanted a whole bunch of stars at the top. New Year's Eve, I always like to have stars on my New Year's Eve layouts, stars and sequins normally, so I didn't have enough stars in this kit to use or to create like a starry sky effectively, so I went through my Bramble Fox stash and pulled out some other stars that I have left over from previous packs. So I had several packs of fancy stars in different colorways, and festive stars too. So I pulled out a couple of festive stars in red, and then I needed some other colors too, so I went to see what I got. I got some pink ones and some white ones, and there was one silvery grey one as well. So I pulled out all those. I've just been peeling them because they had the film on both sides. I hadn't peeled those, so I just spent some time peeling them, and now I'm just arranging all my stars in the background as well. So I have not only perspectives, but I also have vellum stars and snowflakes and things. So yeah, I'm just gonna and some stickers. So I'm just trying to arrange all of those in a way that looks nice. I'm going for a classic Niki cascade from top to bottom. I tend to do that all the time. So just working on that, so I'm happy with how that's looking. It's going up off into the distance at the top of the layout, and then I'll add some at the bottom as well. You can see that I've got a pink star at the bottom and a white one. Now I'm a bit worried about the white perspective on the white background, but I can probably live with it. So I tend to try to use the white perspectives on colours and the coloured perspectives on the white backgrounds, so that they show up well. So just getting all of those stuck in place now with glossy accents. Layouts coming together nicely, it's not too far off now. Adding in some of my usual twiddles. I'm using silver thread this time because I felt that this layout with the grey background, I've got a silvery star and I've got blue, kind of blue-grey embellishments. The silver was much better than introducing gold. There's really no yellow or gold on this layout at all, so silver was good. So just some twiddles on either side of my embellishment clusters, one on the left, one on the right, because I didn't need one at the bottom as well. It's just kind of balanced itself out with the two big embellishment clusters either side of the photo. So all good. My New Year perspective is now stuck in place as well. I had to there was foam pads under the frame. So what I was saying earlier about raising the top of my embellishments up on foam pads and keeping the bottoms flat, well, that didn't work at all here because I needed to layer the New Year perspective on top of the frame, and that was raised on foam pads. So I just had to remove the foam pad that I'd put under there, and then I could stick my New Year 2020 flat. So yeah, all looking good. I'm just seeing what else I can add. So I found some more stickers. I've also got another pack of ephemera that's mostly floral based, or leaves, a lot of leaves. So I was just pulling out a few of those. I didn't want to introduce another colour, so I'm trying to stick with reds, pinks, navy and grey, or kind of like a teal colour, not that much navy, a little bit of blue. But you can see the colourways that I'm using here. And I didn't want to start introducing yellow, and there was quite a lot of yellow in the ephemera that I've got there, so I'm struggling to find bits that will work on this layout. So I just pulled out a few things, a few flowers, and a few leaf sprays as well. And then this is another set of stickers, and it just happened to have a couple more stars on there that worked really well. So I've pulled those out and just added those to my background as well. Then I have a flare badge here that I flirt with the idea of using and then don't. I'd already done so much of my layout that quite a large flare button wasn't going to work. Again, same with these chipboard stickers, really should have thought of these earlier, but there wasn't much on there, to be fair, that would have gone with this layout. It's quite Christmas or very wintry themed, and we were in Florida, so it was sunny weather and I don't need any of the stay cozy and the bundled up type things. Yeah, and I've used most of the generic stuff already on that sticker sheet. So just coming in with these enamel dots. These are Willow by One Canoe 2, and they're a really lovely colour palette. So there's some really lovely colours on there, reds and pinks and teals, as well as some kind of like coppery, like amber, almost amber colour. Anyway, I didn't use the amber ones because that wouldn't go with this colour scheme. But they're really, really lovely set of enamel dots. I've had 2 sets of them by accident now, and I've used all of them, so awesome. Okay, so getting there, I've just spritzed some water into one of my shimmers paints so that I can put some splatters on, but then I've realised I need to do my journaling first. So I'm finally learning that I need to do my journaling before I add splatters to my layout, and there was absolutely nowhere to write my journaling that would have looked right. So I've opted to go around the edge of the shaped background. So I have really tiny writing, and I print mostly, and I can therefore just about get away with it, even though it was raised on foam pads, so not ideal. But it looks good, and also adds some definition to the edge of that shaped background too. So now I'm just finally finishing off by adding in some red splatters, kind of like a reddish pink colour. So not overly red, but like a reddy pink colour. Goes perfectly with these colours on the layout. And that is me done. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. I say this was goodies from the January Fox box. Head over to the Bramble Fox Store to get yourself a subscription, and you can also still find the Fancy Stars and the Festive Stars in the store as well. Okay, that was Niki, Rowland for Bramble Fox.